Okay, it is the 6th of May, 2021. I'm Commander JN-Trax, and this is the Loose Screws Podcast.
Yay!
And yay, that's right. All right. It's hold on. Everything scrolled when the stupid robots joined. Okay, there we go. Now I can see everybody. Joining me on the podcast tonight is Commander Chig.
When the stupid robots joined, you really shouldn't taunt them. Craig has enough issues.
He's going to quit now.
He's going to pick this moment to turn on me.
Yes.
Craig's been turning on us for a long time.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah. Commander Dubs is also here. Hello.
Yee.
Commander Nurgle, how are you?
What up, Daddy Trax?
I don't like that. And Commander NL Hate.
It's going to be a good one.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Somebody didn't
If you
kick
say
the
so,
pig.
friends.
I got to call it.
Yeah.
On tonight's show, today's show, whichever, on this particular episode of the Loose Screws podcast, where we've got the Odyssey Alpha is over with. Was it good for you? The first official Loose Screws Cup competition. Tensions heat up for a combat CG in game. The fDev server team lead joins them on a live stream, which is pretty cool. And an Xbox PvP event is coming right up, I think tomorrow. So that's all the things that are going on. But first, what's going on with us? What has been new and shaken and good and everything with you, Commander Chig?
Well, remember I broke my Virpal stick, so I'll give an update on that.
Yeah.
They sent me a ticket requesting information that I sent to them in the original ticket, like order number, serial number, everything else. I send that back to them
before.
Yeah, and then send that back to them, and then they wanted a video of it, and I don't know, recording a video is small enough in size to send to them. I was having tech-tard issues getting the video small enough, but I finally got it recorded, sent that to them, and then they sent me back a response saying that they'll issue a courier to pick it up, bring it to Lithuania, get it fixed quickly within 14 days, and then ship it back to me. So I figured I'd be without it for probably a month with all that said and done. Mm-hmm. Or I could attempt to fix it myself. So they're sending me the spring to fix it. But as I was talking to Trax earlier, I might not even fix it. I kind of like it without the spring going the one direction. It's super... It just seems to work better. But I don't know. Well, we'll see.
Pure madness.
See how it is. You've met me, right? So I just kind of do my own thing, and things are weird. And if I need to stiffen it up, I'll just, take some easy cheese and squirt it up in there. That'll create enough friction. So, but yeah, that's my life and work winding down. Yeah.
If I need to stiffen it up, I'll use easy cheese.
Don't think about
Don't forget how he said it.
Stiffen it up.
Let it go.
That's the text my wife sends me when she wants to get me in the mood.
Squeeze it up in there with the easy cheese.
Well, see, I gotta compress this down so it'll fit in a podcast title. You understand? Maybe not an
cheese
exact
Aphrodisiac.
Quote, but... Okay, all right, that's better. That's actually funny. When I was more about this in a little while. When I was first getting this X56 set up, and I went through 3 of them before I got one that I was happy enough with to keep, I was sending them like here's the problem with it kind of situations. This is the squeak, and they wanted a video, like you're saying. But their ticket system, of course, it allows you to upload something that's like just a few megabytes.
Yep.
So it's like, I'm shooting on my phone, this iPhone that will like literally shoot 4K if I want it to, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to like, okay, here's the problem, stop.
Yep.
Trying to get the stupid, it was like the 8th time I took the video and finally got it to upload. Yeah, I felt that pain.
Yeah, it's not
just
fun.
Lower the resolution?
I did. What was weird is I lowered the resolution at one point and filmed a shorter video, and it was bigger in size somehow. And I'm like, what the hell just happened here? And I did it. Yeah. So I've got like 8 takes of filming my floppy stick that I sent that I was deciding what to do with. Oh my God. All right. We're off to a great start.
I want to talk about the floppy stick. What?
Well, go ahead, Dubs. What's
constitutional
your floppy stick this week?
Oh, mine is not floppy. It is very stiff. Thank you. My Virpil works very well.
You got a prescription for that?
I mean, don't tell my wife. So what's going on this week? We've started playing 7 Days to Die again, as if the addiction that we had last time wasn't bad enough. It's time to start her up again. This time on a new map. What else have I done this week? Is this week when my wife's computer died? Yeah, that happened. That's pretty shitty. So I now need to either A, accept defeat and purchase a built system, or just be patient and wait for graphics cards to be available. But since
her computer.
Yeah, I was talking to her about that. She isn't like me. She doesn't care if it's this gaudy RGB ridden water cooler lines everywhere. Like, she's like, look, I want it to play my games and I don't care. So I was like, damn it, all right, fine, whatever. So yeah, might go buy her a computer. Best Buy has one that has a 3070 in it right now for like $1,800. So I might just say fuck it and buy that.
If you don't like it, fuck you.
I mean, whatever. And then she was like, "You better not steal my fucking graphics cards." Like, well,
she won't know.
She probably won't. I mean, the 1080 Ti is pretty beefy for, I guess, its standards. So I don't know. I'll probably just let her keep it, and I'll just wait for the 3080 to actually be available. So yeah, my wife may wind up getting I mean, it's an Alienware, so it's not, I don't know, terrible.
It won't have like a custom form factor motherboard or something. It'll at least be like a real ATX.
Yeah, from what I looked at in the pictures, it does have a normal ATX motherboard. The power supply does look like it might be in a weird position, maybe proprietary, but I mean, how often do you really have to change out a power supply if it's capable of running the i7 and a 3070? It'll probably get the job done for upgrades to come.
You just jinxed yourself hard.
I know. You know what? Whatever. I'm going to stop talking about it because I'm just going to convince myself to wait and buy more custom parts again.
There you go.
But that's it for me.
All right. Nurgle, did anything happen to you lately?
Well, my stick is not floppy either. But
way to go.
This is the theme for the night, apparently.
And he's in his 50s. He's bragging.
Woo!
That is not untrue.
Yeah. Long haul trucking.
After previous HOTAS death, I found an X56 for list price. So I bought it, and now all my previous muscle memory is worth absolutely shit. As I learn how to fly, apparently all over again.
I think you're just learning how to fly, period. But, well.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Thanks, man. So I have attempted to set my bindings and am deliriously unhappy with the first attempt at bindings. So if anybody has some good binding ideas for the X56, please put them in chat somewhere. Because I've got a lot of bindings to go through.
I'd be happy to send you mine, but from what we were talking about before the show, I kind of think you wouldn't be totally happy with them. But I can send you to check out, Yeah,
I'd be happy to look at them, even if I think you're crazy. But yeah, that's what's going on. So interesting.
Super. Hate, what's up on your neck of the woods?
I met a new friend. I love meeting new friends. Dragon of Fire is the only person I could find attached to the player-made faction that Inara is not tracking as a player-made faction in LT 17.16.5 that we just expanded into. And he was behaving like an adult, which is off considering all the people we've met through the BGS.
Yeah, that hasn't been recent experience.
But, I got more BGS stuff to talk about, but we'll get to that later.
Fair enough. Well, for my part, I suppose the thing was it was my birthday on Tuesday, a couple of days ago, and with having no plans whatsoever, I last minute decided to concoct a crazy idea for a birthday party stream, and it came together and was actually turned out okay. So actually, I was arguing with myself about where to put this in the notes, but apparently it should go here, and I don't know why I didn't think of that. But the first Loose Screws Cup happened on Tuesday. It was extremely short notice, but it's streamed if you want to watch it. The replays are up and so on. But what we decided to do was basically mail slot stunts with guest judge Mrs. Trax, who happens to be a varsity gymnastics coach, and so she brought all of her expertise in that to the judging, assigning score values and starting difficulty values and all this sort of stuff. And it turned out really well, and everybody seemed to have a really good time. We had lots of contestants, and the winner walked away with a literal Loose Screws cup, in that I went ahead and sent him a mug from our merch store. And the winner turned out to be Bonzo, by the way.
That was really fun. And kudos to Mrs. Trax. She did a great job.
Yes, and she did a great job.
After I was all warmed up and ready to go, it was then that I realized the ship I was flying was using undersized thrusters.
You managed to do a couple of good slides in there. You brought the Phantom, right?
Yeah.
Oversized thrusters aren't always the best when you're trying to do stunts inside of a mail slot. Sometimes it's the subtle direction changes that are brought by undersized thrusters that make it possible. My courier was near impossible because I would make a change and it would just sling itself, not gently, in whatever direction I pointed it. And that is not good for mail slots.
No, that's for sure. Yeah, so that's what we did on Tuesday. It was loads of fun. I basically flew cameraman for the whole thing until after my wife had enough. After everybody had done at least 2 runs and she ran down the scores, I went and tried one myself in the courier, and it on the 3rd try actually got in and out without a total crash. So that was my very first attempt at such stunts. So that felt pretty good.
And next time we do this, we have to have a second cameraman inside the station.
Yes, that will be super rad. Well, right, obviously, and we'll figure out a way to get. I mean, I'm not fDev, and I don't have an RTMP server, but we can try to do it like with Discord sharing. It'll probably work. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so that's what's up. Let's, as we are wont to do, let's go ahead and start with the squad briefing, shall we?
Incoming priority message.
Squadron briefing.
All right, so we already talked about LT 17156, so we expanded there over the weekend. And then immediately went right back into expansion from the same system because it's completely out of control. More on that later. The social engineering project we have going on in HIP 4907 is proceeding exactly according to plan. Yes, insert evil laugh here. Absolutely. We have. I don't want to jinx it by talking too much about it, but the way things are going this week probably could not have gone better for us based on what we wanted to happen in that system. We've flipped positions. We're climbing towards control of the system. We've got Helsinian Knights right behind us where we want them to be because we want to pull them along with us. The faction we want to retreat is, as of this afternoon, down to 1.3%. And I've probably said more than I need to say about it because at this point something is going to go wrong.
I'm working on it right now.
Well, then maybe there's hope. A couple of the systems we've been trying to do some maintenance on. We lost a little bit of ground in Unktomi. We gained a little bit of ground in Unktomi. We lost a little bit of ground in Qama and V640. It's not a big number in either direction. We're basically just holding steady there. And then nltt 2969, which is our problem runaway expansion system, and it's all based on economy. It has an insatiable appetite for metals of all kinds, and just random background traffic trading just drives it straight up. And unfortunately, we control every port in the system, so anything that's going to raise influence is going to hit us. At one point, when it expanded over the weekend, it was somewhere in the mid 80s, and of course, you take a 15% influence reduction when you expand, and we dropped down to like 71. And almost immediately, right after the cooldown, went right back into expansion. We didn't even have time to stop it. So we've got a plan in place to try to really hit it hard and try to reduce some of the influence and pull up a couple of the bottom factions, maybe get them tied up with a lot of influence, tied up fighting wars to prevent us from expanding there again. There's a whole bunch of information about that in the Discord, so if you're interested in helping with that, some of that is already underway even. So go to the Discord and check that out.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
Hate? Anything you want to add to that, Hate?
Man, the whole week has been going golden for the faction, and I don't want to jinx it either.
Yeah.
If you're working with us, good job. If you're not a part of a faction, feel free to join us and our Discord. There will be a link in the show notes. We post fresh orders at least every other day. Yeah, and we have a ton of fun doing it. There's always something to do. Pardon me. There's always something to do.
What was wrong with the first time you said it?
I don't think I said two.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys. So we don't have our super cool Galnet News recap man
Super
in
rad,
the chair
isn't it?
tonight. Super rad. It's all leaving me so quickly now.
Well, you're a year older, so the brain's slowing down.
I know. It is. It's getting terrible. Anyway, I wonder if this would have been enough coolness to cause him to actually declare it as worthwhile news. But anyway, since we were last on the podcast, last episode, there was a CG that had started looking for data for between the Federation and
The Federation?
the Empire. The Federation and the Federation. It was
Hudson,
it was
and Shadow
basically
President, Felicity Winners, or whatever.
Yeah.
that's the one. And am I right that Hudson won resoundingly?
You are correct.
Yeah. So federally, yeah.
After they moved the upper goal point 10 separate times.
Yeah. It wasn't close.
Wow. People do not like winters, huh?
Yeah, which is really unfortunate. She had her eye out for the little people.
She
Yeah,
did.
arguing for not spying on people.
This is the one time
Well-
I agreed with her.
Yeah.
Not spying on people lost real hard. So
Yeah.
federal leaders launched rival data requests that CG completed, as we said. Then the Kumo crew starports were open for business. That's from a previous CG. So Kumo crew has new starports in various places. Then the Nova Imperium targeted by superpowers, and they're essentially implicating Imperator Hadrian Duval, saying that he was the mastermind behind the NMLA business. He denies it vehemently, of course. And then just today, the Federation decided they weren't going to wait for the ACT to verify whether Hadrian Duval was in fact the leader of the NMLA, and they're just going to attack. So now a CG has started for combat bonds. You can fight for the Federation or fight for Nova Imperium. Nova Imperium calling for aid as per their treaties and whatnot. So that is going on right now. As far as I could tell, there was not any particular reward besides the financial ones. Is that correct?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see which way that goes.
Right.
You already know.
Well, typically the Empire gets way less support in CG compared to the Federation, but this isn't really the Empire. I don't know. Then again, Hudson apparently has wild player support, even when he's trying to spy on everyone. So
this is true.
Yeah. Well, unless anyone has any more interesting, fun, super rad things to say about Galnet, that's pretty much the story. Yeah. All right.
Moving on.
I'll take that exciting silence. Okay, so on Tuesday there was the Super Cruise News live stream from fDev. Zach and Sally did the show, and it was what it is. It was fine. Nothing big popped out of it. There were cool screenshots as per usual. Way to go, screenshot winners. Then today on Thursday, the Thursday live stream was very cool. Dav Stott, the lead server team, talks about all kinds of stuff that he does and has been working on for the sake of Odyssey coming up, including what it's like to reboot the galaxy. Did anybody get to watch this? I listened.
I have not watched it. I have read some of the information.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can find the timestamp, I'll make sure it gets into the show notes that he made. He talked about the BGS song. And essentially said it's not changing. There's just going to be new things to fill all the existing buckets, which in fDev talk is everything's going to break. But it was. I need to go back and watch it because what I've read sounds fairly interesting.
Yeah, it was. Well, I didn't think his comments were quite that simple, actually. That he did say, like, obviously the BGS continues and there are new things plugging into it for the sake of being on foot. He said new obvious things and a few new secret things. I don't know if that's not maybe an exact quote, but he said like hidden things or something. So the new things that aren't so clear that will start to have an effect, and talking about just all the kind of the ways that the BGS affects the missions, which affects the BGS and so on, and the system states and things like that, like how people are noticing in the alpha, how some stations or some settlements are always in one state or the other. And that was clearly just set that way for the sake of the alpha. Some settlements were testing this state and other settlements were testing a different state. And the whole thing, once again, just reinforced what the alpha was, and big reminder to me, like, that I would have handled this so differently and felt a lot better had I known so much of this before, that it was really like this very narrow focused testing, and so much of it, even that was completed and ready to show us, was switched off and not really running. And he specifically said, like, there are so many so many settlement layouts that weren't being used because they weren't trying to test settlement layouts. They were trying to test more specific things, like, do the panels work when you cut them, and stuff like that. So I found it to be, once again, just a very, very interesting and entertaining stream filled with lots of good stuff. They did go and play conflict zones on foot, and I wasn't watching, I was listening, but apparently that was fun too. And basically answered questions the whole time. He did a lot of answering questions with, I don't know anything about that. My job is servers. At least 3 or 4 questions like that. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. I kind of think like, I don't have a list exactly of all of the points that he made. If anybody has any more comments and stuff that they'd like to talk about it, I invite you to.
I watched the interview on Twitch with Dev, and when they got to the combat, I switched to the YouTube replay because I could traverse it more easily. I don't know if you can do the same thing with Twitch while it's still live or not, but I went to YouTube because I know YouTube, and then watched the interview again, and then both times I stopped when they switched the combat zones on foot because I didn't think I was going to like catch anything, and I didn't hear anything about the BGS while it was just the interview. And I don't know if that was me not listening well enough, or if that BGS talk was during the combat.
It was. Yeah, he continued to like think of things to say and sort of be prodded a little bit, and then he'd go, "Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about that." Like he said, I wanted to say some things about the BGS, and he talked actually quite a while about that. So there's quite a bit all through it. You can't just turn it off when they start playing.
Dang, that's unfortunate.
And all that I
watch more of it now.
All that I come away from this right now is we got to get through this week's and next week's show, and then Odyssey will be out. So I'm fatigued at talking about everything that's happened with the alpha and all the stuff that they did or didn't do and everything else. We get to see it, in a couple weeks, less than a couple weeks. I'm just terrified that our Thursday show on the 20th will just be us complaining about server stability and stuff. But I can hope we actually will have been able to play a little bit and we'll have some good information in a couple weeks. But this week and next week, it's kind of there's not much new to really talk about, in my opinion.
I think that's very fair and correct. And mostly I also didn't even play Phase 4 at all. Like I turned it on for a second when we were last recording, and I just sat in the cargo bay and did nothing while we recorded the show, and that was it. Because I just didn't have any interest in what would be erased, and I don't know. It's so hard. Like at this point, I don't know if I really would have played it if I'd known what it really was. But anyway, we don't have to rehash that. So the 19th is the release. That is that a Wednesday?
Yep.
Oh, great. So what one of the things
great.
one of the things that Dev mentioned was, because this is his department, is that he talked a lot about the way they do updates and the way they refresh things, and they have different methods of doing it. Rebooting the galaxy all at once versus these like rolling things, and when they do their their changes, and the way they farm out things to basically like clusters of computers to try to like position all of the ports on all of the new planet. Like there's a bunch of stuff that goes into it. There's a lot of interesting things in the interview, but when the actual button gets pushed for Odyssey to go live, they will be pulling the servers down, and I think he said they're expecting about a day of downtime, and they have a lot to do in that time. So I'm thinking that means that they pull it down on the 18th. So that it goes live on the 19th, and then, anytime something like when the 3.0 happened, it took a while before things were running smoothly. I don't know. Things can change, though. Dev also mentioned about how AWS actually runs their servers. And a lot of changes have happened on that side as well. They have a lot more service than they used to when the game first launched, kind of thing. Although I think he said it's always been on AWS, so that's interesting to know. So yeah, maybe we'll have something to talk about, or maybe we won't have played it yet.
It would be the most awesome thing ever if they said, yes, Odyssey releases on the 19th. So then on the 19th, they just take the server down for the entire day, and that's the Odyssey launches. Game is down.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Game
I'm
deleted.
optimistic, I swear.
Yeah. I'm fairly optimistic that it will, but we'll see. We'll see. But I basically think I haven't seen anything yet. Is what I'm the presumption that I'm proceeding with. So
that's my
cool.
hope.
This whole alpha has been so different than how they did the fleet carrier rollout. I'm hoping we have a different result when it goes live.
Well, because that was a beta.
Cleaner result?
Well, yeah, but they didn't, at least not publicly, do this kind of stress testing leading up to the fleet carrier rollout. That was basically, their beta was here. It's an open world with fleet carriers. Go play in it. And,
right, a true beta.
Yeah, and this was a lot more structured with stress testing for how they're going to make the move in Phase 4. So hopefully, to me, that means this is going to be a smoother transition because hopefully they've learned something here about how to make it smoother, and we won't have all those problems afterwards.
God,
on the other hand,
such a sweet
FDev.
man.
And there's a track record here of of this not going smoothly.
You just sound so optimistic and like life hasn't tore you down yet. Just wait, little buddy.
I'm trying to be, man. I'm trying to be.
I'm hoping. Like I said, I'm hoping.
I'm hoping for the best, but I'm prepared for the worst.
Yeah. I'm not really prepared for the worst. I'm almost anticipating the worst, which is sad. But I hope that they prove me wrong. Come on, fDev, prove me wrong.
Absolutely.
I'm rooting for you guys.
It's hard to be let down when you just don't have expectations.
That's
It'll
what
get
said.
It'll. Oh man.
What's that
right.
sizzling noise?
Oh boy.
All right, Shig, getting open. We're doing this.
I'm actually in open, just riding out notoriety from the stupid birthday event. I ended up with notoriety because
like a dummy.
Well, that Type 9 didn't need to get in the mail slot when I was trying to fly through it, so I had to blow it up. I just had to. Just saying.
And I had the shot of you trying to fly away while 7,000 guns on the ring of that station were firing at you was pretty impressive.
And I got away. That Type 10 of mine is pretty tough.
It is.
Yeah.
The first time you got away.
Yeah.
Second time, not so much.
Well, yeah, that's because I didn't bother to heal the hull. I didn't get away 26% hull.
I didn't get away the first time because they started firing at me while I was still inside the station.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a different story when you're inside the mouth where all the guns are pointed right at you.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Nowhere to run. All right. Okay. I think let's stick a Chig chat in here. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Okay.
You don't like it? Fuck you.
Oh, wow. That wasn't the one I meant to hit. Let's do this.
Yo, it's Chig chat. Chig chat. Where the cheese at? Chig chat. Where the cheese at? Chig chat. Where the cheese at? Chig chat. That's all I got.
My God.
Beautiful. I loved it.
So long.
Every time you think it's over, every time you think it's about over, Ty starts making fart noises. It's just amazing. I love it so much.
I crack up every time he says, "That's all I got."
Yeah. And then, but that reminded me of a show feedback. Rabbi Bob and PB Junkie were both kind enough to put in there about our sound issues last week, and we had to reissue the podcast last week. So that was nice.
Yeah.
And
Right, and I should say I need that because if I put it out and there's problems, it means I haven't noticed it because I do not listen to the whole playback on things before I export, and it's usually very late at night. So thanks for the heads up. I was able to fix.
And yeah, so yeah, thanks for the feedback, guys. And PB Junkie, especially thanks to him on the feedback, telling Trax not to start the show late because my old brain needs more sleep. So we'll make sure that Trax doesn't show up super late again and keep us up late. All right,
Y'all can start without me.
No, we can't.
Open invitation.
No. Craig only listens to you. All right, so this week's Jig Chat is just completely ridiculous. My daughter's been streaming a lot, and she wanted to do a thing like we do the cheese at the end of the show that I started, but she doesn't like cheese, so she was going to do a corn dog each week. And I'm like, so each week you're going to say this week's corn dog is corn dog? And she goes, yep. I'm like, brilliant. So today I came home from work and I said to Izzy, I'm like, man, I haven't even thought about Elite Week and what I'm going to do for Chig Chat this week. And she goes, do corn dog. I go, for Chig Chat? She goes, yep. I said, all right, you win. So this week's Chig Chat is corn dog. For those
corn
that
dog?
don't know, that's just a hot dog dipped in cornbread batter and deep fried. It originated in there's dispute as to where the first corn dog came from, but the earliest is most likely Texas and then maybe Minnesota. Pronto Pup is what they call it at the Minnesota State Fair. There's all kinds of variances on it, but it's amazing, and it's my daughter's favorite food in the world, and this Chig Chat was just dedicated to her, and that's all you get for Chig Chat this week. If you want to talk about corn dogs, go ahead.
Izzy.
So yeah,
Super.
That's what you get. Amazing, huh? That's show prep for you.
Yeah. Not phoned in or anything. I love it.
No, not phoned in. Hey, I thought about it earlier in the day for a change. That's a plus.
Wow.
Now, if I start actually piecing stuff together and doing some notes ahead of time, like X gives us this page and a half of notes a week in advance, so we can study it all week. It's great.
Wow. Super. So, next up, I wanted to put this little discussion bit in here and suggest a possible event related to it. So, ganking, you guys. It's horrible, right? It's a scourge of the game and ruins play for everybody. Am I right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dubs, do you think ganking is a huge problem?
honestly, it depends on where you go. There's like 3 places where ganking's a problem. I can't remember the last time I was ganked by I've been pulled by other players in random systems, but they then immediately got their asses handed to them. Competent gankers are only a problem in like Shinrarta and Desiat and sometimes the other engineering systems randomly.
Right.
I don't know if I'd say it's a big enough problem to be watching over your shoulder at all times. Most random interactions are good interactions. It's just the ones that are in like Shinrarta and shit, like, yeah, they're pretty shitty and they ruin it.
If you go to the forums, though, it is the scourge of the galaxy most weeks. Yes.
I mean, the people that participate in that activity are the scourge. So
no, they're the scum.
The scum, whatever. They deserve to be eliminated.
I agree.
But
okay, so that's kind of what I'm trying to get at here. Is there's a lot of talk about ganking and how terrible it is and how it ruins things for players of all skill levels and all experience levels. However, there's in all the solutions that get suggested, most of it has something to do with, this change needs to be made to the game, and if only this would happen, it would solve ganking. And while some of that is, I think, good ideas, it's also questionably likely to happen, and especially at a time like this when they're developing a big update and stuff like that. So there are things that people can do to solve ganking on the other end, solve it on the end of the victim, because from the perspective of somebody who kind of knows what they're doing, there are things that you can do to make yourself not very vulnerable to ganking that are not that difficult and don't require massive resources either. And you can, like Tubbs said, it's not that much of a problem. This isn't just because you have all the best ships. Like I think there was a community goal one time, and I was running in and out of the system, and I just used my Exploration Cobra Mark III, super lightweighted Cobra Mark III, made for exploration, but just about the highest jump range I could put on the thing. And a pack of 3 Mambas pulled me and did not secure that kill. It can definitely be done, and all you need is a little advice and a little preparedness and a little know-how, I guess, which isn't that hard. This isn't like learning to fight them. This is learning to get away. You can change the equation pretty dramatically. So I wanted to just kind of like open the floor and talk about like, what do we do to avoid ganking? How can we make sure we don't get killed? And maybe there are certain systems to avoid, I guess, but even if, in my opinion, even if you're in those systems, and maybe this is a discussion point, maybe even if you're in those systems, like there are things you can do to kind of mitigate this issue and take it out of the hands of the gankers or out of the hands of fDev as a problem that needs to be like quote unquote fixed. So and then of course, like I said, maybe we should do an event about this as far as like getting together and having a live stream, have people join us and do some practicing, like talk about these are the techniques that I'm planning on talking about here. This is how we kind of fix this problem on the end of the victim, and then practicing getting that done. Like get out there with some interdictors, pull some people and try to kill them and see if they've learned to get away. Because I think I could bring a strong PvP ship that can do a lot of damage extremely quickly. And if somebody really wants to get away, they should still be able to get away in just about any ship, I think. What say you all? What would you do? What do you do to avoid it? Do you think I'm totally wrong? Let's start there. Am I full of it?
No.
No, you're right. You can definitely avoid it. Speed is your friend.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say.
Most
kills, baby.
most ganking ships are loaded down with heavy weapons, heavy hull reinforcement, heavy shields. Like, yeah, the FDL is a fast ship, but a ganking build FDL isn't as fast as, say, a courier or a sidewinder that's got the dirty drives.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah, just basically outrun him.
Yeah.
Anytime I go to a CG where it's like data turn in, I rip the weapons off my courier. I go in there. Like, I won't even fight the interdiction. I'm just like, all right, throttle down. As soon as I hit normal space, hit that boost button. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just kind of FA off, flip around, and type in the system chat later, bro. And then I'll fucking jump to Super Cruise, and then I'll wait for him to pull me again, and I'll do the same thing.
Yeah, that's
so
the big thing
Super
is don't fight interdictions. It's just, especially against players, the advantage is so much in the interdictor's favor. You're better off just submitting so that then you can get the hell out of there faster, because your cooldown on your FSD is longer if you fail to get away than if you just concede.
And a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people
and
don't know.
And that's one of the things. If you submit to the interdiction, you get the fast cooldown and the interdictor gets the slow cooldown. You flip it on them. Whereas if you fight it and fail, you'll get the slow one. So that's one important detail.
I don't know. I know the interdictor gets a slow cooldown in the successful pull. I don't know if the interdictor gets a slow cooldown on a submission.
Oh, am I wrong? I might be wrong.
I've never
I always thought that was the case.
That either.
That's something we can test.
Actually, I don't even think, because I know whenever I'm just out there basically blowing up low level wanted ships, I usually kill them before my cooldown is finished. but I don't think I have to wait the full 45 seconds. I may be wrong. I don't know. I've never gotten out a stopwatch and been like, hey, how long is my cooldown after I'm done interdicting somebody? So that would need more data, I guess.
But I mean, another big key to getting away too is A, your cooldown being quicker because you submitted to it, and then B, high waking out of there just in case you're going to be mass locked or something. You can get away, target a nearby system, and having next system in queue or whatever the hell that button is. So you just target the next system for a jump and just get the hell out of there. High waking, jump to a different system. If you jump back into Super Cruise and it's a determined ganker, they're just going to do it again and again. Just jump out of system and mass lock goes away.
The low wake can be mass locked.
Yes.
So if they're flying a bigger ship than you, which they probably are, they can keep you from jumping or slow it down dramatically. Whereas that doesn't happen if you're high waking to another system. That doesn't happen. So, and I think a lot of times if you're getting hit in one of these high traffic systems, then you're probably not on your way to somewhere else. This is probably the destination. So you probably don't have a next system en route, so that button wouldn't work. But I just click over to my left-hand panel, and in navigation, you just push up, and it'll loop you around to the bottom of the list. Pick any system. Those are all within your jump range.
Yeah.
And then just pull the trigger as soon as you're into the FSD cooldown stops. And then, of course, you'll get there before, I think because of that cooldown, you'll get there before they're able to follow you if they even have a wake scanner. I don't think...
They probably won't.
They probably won't. I don't think that would be standard equipment on ganking builds, right?
Not, sometimes they are, but if you jump into a system, it won't let you drop out of Super Cruise immediately. But I believe if you turn your thrusters off or your FSD off, it'll force drop you, and then they won't be in system in time to scan for your wake for where you dropped.
Oh, interesting.
For where you dropped, right. Or you could target a second system. So you could high wake and then immediately high wake again.
Yeah, you can do double high
now
wake.
You've obfuscated where you ended up.
I've heard that, but I haven't tested it myself. That you can drop yourself out of Super Cruise by turning off a module. I'll have to verify that.
It would be a fun
it would be the
event
FSD
to test these things because
I think the thrusters have to be on too.
Have to be off? Thrusters have nothing to do with Super Cruise.
I mean, no. I think if you turn your thrusters off in Super Cruise, it still drops you.
Yeah, it will.
Okay, hold on. I'll test this right now.
I'm fixing to test it. I'm jumping to a new system.
Oh, yep. I turned off my thrusters and it immediately dropped me into normal space.
Very interesting.
I have a long cooldown though.
Hey, long cooldown as long as the guy can't follow you.
Hey, my thrusters are back on. I didn't turn them back on.
Testing it. Oh yeah, that was. Yeah, I fell into the system from the jump, turned off the thrusters, and immediately fell.
Are your thrusters back on?
Yeah, they're already back on.
Actually, mine never turned off. It just dropped me. Okay,
yeah, they
then that's
right
the fastest way to get out of Super Cruise.
I was going to say another thing when you're getting pulled is being decisive. If you're planning on absolutely running away because that's the ship you're in, that's what you do. And if you're going to fight, decide you're going to fight and be decisive. Because if you're like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, you could be in deep trouble before you make a decision.
Also, check your comps panel when you're being pulled. Sometimes people just want to talk to you and make sure they have your attention. And sometimes it's the code, and they're just going to scan you. And if you don't have anything in your hold, they'll let you go.
That's right. If it is somebody who's role-playing a pirate, they will send you a message. And then, I mean, that's sort of fun, emergent gameplay. Maybe not everybody thinks it's fun, but I would argue that it is.
It's super scary seeing a hollow emblem on the radar while you're being interdicted.
Yeah, I have fought every pirate that's ever pulled me. If I'm in one of my hauling ships or mining ships, obviously I'm going to high wake, but I've never submitted to those jerks.
Oh, really? Player pirates?
I don't know if you remember that one night that me, Teflon, and Awan got into it with the Code Boys.
Oh, I do. Actually, that one note is that you might not realize is the target highest threat key binding works to target the ship that's interdicting you. Newer players might not realize that's a very helpful key to have, and you can quick tap that when you start getting interdicted. If you can fight off the panic long enough, and then you can see like what it is, because as you know, sometimes it's, well, you get an idea of kind of who it is. If it's a player, then you can see right away, or whatever, and then kind of make your choice as you can fight the interdictor for a few seconds before you give in. Just sort of make your decision. You could even use that time to what I do. I'll use that time to target a nearby system for the sake of the high wake, so that when I drop out, I've already got it targeted. As far as builds, in my opinion, any ship for any task can be made hardy enough to escape a gank. I definitely have taken my shieldless Type 9 with 750 tons of cargo, where I traded a shield for an FSD booster, and it still took. I was just low waking out because I was being pulled by a smaller ship than the Type 9, and was having no trouble with mass lock, but it took them 5 pulls to deal enough damage to take me out, even though I'm using the lightweight hull and had no shields. So the trick is you can mod your hull. You can mod the lightweight alloy with heavy duty. This, again, old experienced players will know it, but the heavy duty mod adds mass, of course, but it adds mass as a function of percent. So your lightweight alloy that comes with your ship has 0 for its mass. So no percentage applied to that is going to add any mass to your ship. So you can effectively double it for free with that mod. So any ship, even if it's a lightweight build for exploration or hauling or anything, should have the heavy duty mod on its lightweight alloy. And that's free hull, boys and girls.
We can heavy duty our lightweight hull and add no mass, but we can't have artificial gravity. God damn it.
Yes, that's correct.
I know. All right. I'm okay with this.
Any other tips? What have I missed? I'm sure I've missed something.
I don't know. I thought Dubs was going to come interdict me, but he's not.
Are you in space right now?
Yeah.
I'm sitting over near the big cheese.
Oh, I
look for you.
Got out, jumped into Super Cruise. I'm 31 light seconds from the big cheese.
Oh, you're 31 light seconds away from it. Am I even in? I see you in, what do you call it? In system, but I don't see you in my recent or current history, which means we're not, whatchamacallit, instant together.
This is another reason not to be afraid of being ganked.
Yeah.
The chances of you ending up in the same instance as a ganker are really small.
Yeah,
that's
you
true.
know what system I'm in, where I roughly am. We're both in open, and you can't find me to gank me. So yeah, that's another good trick.
To be clear, right, if they are looking for each other and they can't find each other.
So if you're in one of these high traffic systems, you can block somebody. I mean, once you know that they're going to be trouble. But if you're in one of these high traffic systems and you see the system chat is going crazy, you are not going to be in the same instance as most of those people.
Right.
I found that all the time whenever I'm in a high traffic system, the chat is going so fast you can barely read it, and there'll be somebody talking, "Oh, so and so's ganking," and I'll look in Super Cruise, like I see them in the contact, or not in the contacts, but like comms. Sometimes you can see, like, because I have actually added several kind of, I don't know if I would say career gankers, but people who have engaged me in such gameplay. I've added them as friends. A lot of times they will add you as friends, and personally, I don't have like a huge problem with people doing that kind of activity as they're kind of choosing gameplay. I think there's not a lot of good. It's tougher to have like legit PvP situations, and I don't really have a problem with them doing it, mainly because I think all the stuff that we're saying here, that it's really not as much of a problem as people say if you put just a little bit of effort into avoiding or learning to get away.
Here's the problem, though, is the prime place that the real scum does this is Desia, the very first engineer somebody goes to.
Sure.
So it means that it's, somebody who has probably zero engineering on their ship. If it's a newer player, they don't know any of these tricks. They probably haven't listened to any of the numerous podcasts or videos or anything at that point. They're just really getting going. And those are the people, that these guys will go and decide to pick on. And that's where you see the problem. And then, some of those players may just quit the game entirely because of frustration.
Right.
And that's one less player playing this game. And that's what annoys me with the whole situation.
The real problem gankers,
experienced players, no problem. Go ahead, nerds.
The real problem gankers are the ones that are out there purposefully looking for the people least likely to be able to deal with what they're doing. They're seal clubbing.
Right. Sure. And so that's specifically what I would like to help with, right? Is like, don't be thinking that you have to be an experienced player to get away, because this isn't going to be skilled flying situations. It's going to be just knowing what to do and being a little bit prepared, and we can help you practice, in fact.
Exactly.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, I'd love to do that one night, just so we can see how some of this stuff works, and seeing, if a completely unengineered, I don't know, what's an early ship somebody might have as they're just getting engineering going, like an unengineered
Cobra
Scout, just an A-rated. Yeah, Cobra or Viper would probably get away pretty easily. They're so quick. Thinking, maybe something a little bit bigger.
You can put a lot of speed on.
So maybe like an Asp Explorer, or I don't know. Mm-hmm. See if it's just an A-rated one can get away from a fully engineered ganky type ship.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun.
So one of the reasons that this came to my mind was a discussion that I heard kind of specifically about PvP with PvP people. I think it was the System Chat show. I think they did an episode with several people from the PvP community, and they talked about ganking because that's still, a major part of it. But one of the main points that they spent a lot of time on was specifically this that I'm bringing up. I'm basically like taking their discussion and saying, that's mine now. About like, it really is, if you know these points that we're talking about, it is kind of tilted in favor of the victim. It is actually difficult to kill people unless they haven't paid attention to these things. And so this is like stuff that doesn't take that long to learn or anything, that we can teach to the noobs and really change the equation majorly. And I think in their discussion, they were landing on the perspective of like, that is the one thing that would solve ganking, because anybody who for whom PvP is the only thing that they play this game for, they're going to find a way to get it. Mm-hmm. And if we can make it way too hard for them to get it, we can. And then they'll go to organize PvP, and, sure, more of that needs to be constructed, of course, but there still has to be a force convincing them that they need to take that extra step of, okay, I'm actually going to find a consensual match here, instead of just going to find emergent stuff, because the emergent stuff can become too hard. And we can do it, and you can too.
Knowing is half the battle.
Yeah. What do you? I don't want to cut it off if we have more points to make or suggestions and stuff, because this is going to serve as our preliminary organization, I think. Notes of what we're going to talk about on the day. But what about this coming Tuesday?
I'm in.
Yeah, me too.
All right, let's do, and we can do this as much as we want. But I'm suggesting this Tuesday because I can be there in what we typically do, about 7 p.m. Central Time. I'll come on and probably stream it because that'll be fun and it'll be available then for other people to watch and we'll all get together. Let's do it. So let's gather in Loose Screws space somewhere and interdict each other. And we'll try out various ships. And I would love to have the newer commanders who are interested in this come bring your actual ship and we'll go over what we talked about here and catch you up on it and make sure you know how to do it. And then we'll try to kill you. And I think you'll be able to get away, even in whatever you're flying right now.
I want to fly. I want to be interdicted too. New players can
me too.
practice interdicting and stuff, but I want to do it in some. I'll buy whatever ship I can buy. Not the slowest. I don't know, mid-range kind of speed ship, and whatever I can buy at whatever station is in that system. Just straight up fresh purchase ship, and as best modules as I can get in that system, and see if I can get away from some good ships. You and Dubs can try interdicting me and see if I can get away from some actual good pilots.
Right on.
And I think the two most important things to remember are, one, you got to commit to either fight or flight, and two, there is no substitute for speed.
Yeah.
Right. And get that free armor, build your ship to be tough as you can, but tough with a purpose. I don't load maximum shields onto my exploration ships. I load maximum shields that I can tolerate the jump range of, but I can get away from a pack of 3 Mambas bent on killing me in a ship in a Cobra that had a 140 megajoules of shields.
Yeah, well, that's like my cutter, my shieldless cutter for transporting goods. I don't worry about getting ganked in that thing at all. I've been pulled many times and no fear at all. Even without shields.
That's one tip. Actually, I was thinking how did I do that in a Cobra with almost no shield? Well, for one thing, pip management, the hidden thing in the game where if you throw 4 pips to systems, your shield becomes 2.5 times stronger. So that's actually, so when you're running, build for speed, but probably do your boost and then knock 4 pips into systems and ride out the incoming fire until you can get the FSD jump off, because your shield will be way stronger that way. Okay.
And also, if you decide to turn to fight on that first pass, you want all your pips to shields.
Yeah. And that goes back to combat stuff, right? You got to be moving those pips. If you're not moving the pips all the time, you're not using the ship fully.
Yeah, especially at that first pass, because you want the extra strength to shields and you have a full capacitor. So firing your weapons, you're fine. Then you can recharge your weapons once you're not being shot at. Combat tips.
Awesome. I think this is going to be great. It's already been great. Cool. Anything else before we move on to the next thing?
Anything else, Dubs? Did you try jumping out, jumping back in yet? Where are you?
I jumped into normal space and back into Super Cruise, but I wasn't paying attention because I was dealing with some work issues. Let me see if I can find you.
Yeah,
I'm only clean up real quick.
I don't see anybody in system with me.
If you're winged up, it's easy to interdict people.
Yeah, it's good to know that instancing works so well. Except that wing invite.
I accepted the wing invite, so you can interdict me. Flying a ship I've never flown before. I don't even remember buying this.
Is this happening right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, he's going to come interdict me. I got to figure out. I still don't see you. Where are you?
Quality podcast.
I'm just not coming back into podcast.
Okay. All right, you're just... Okay, I'll wait for a second. If you can see each other...
I see him.
Okay.
That's Chig right there. A Clipper.
Right,
yeah, I've never flown this. I don't even remember buying it.
So it's a Clipper with stock modules, I assume. Dubs, what are you flying?
No, it's engineered.
Hey, I'm flying my engineered. God, I can't remember what it's called. Courier.
Okay.
All right.
So
I'm being interdicted.
It's a pretty brutal courier.
Yeah.
So are you going
900 meter per second courier?
What was I supposed to be testing? I don't even remember.
So you submitted to it, right?
Yep.
My cooldown is just about over.
And mine's over.
And it's
Okay.
over.
And
Okay.
I'm out.
Yep.
He got away. So, did you get any shots off, Dubs?
I was testing the cooldown if he submitted was all.
He could have
I see.
gotten one volley off maybe because I flight assist off and flipped and faced him and then boosted past him.
Let's do it again. This time
Okay.
I'll fire on you.
Okay.
You should be able to get away.
Uh,
2
okay.
kilometers away.
Yeah, what the hell?
But that informs us that the cooldown on the interdicting ship never goes to the long cooldown, does it?
Yeah, and I'm out.
Doesn't look like it.
He got one
Yeah, I
volley.
didn't
He got a
have-
ring of shields off, but I only had one pip in systems. I didn't even bother.
Okay. So
Yep,
not
not
a
enough time.
weak ship, but yeah, it still, I could tell it still would have gotten away even if it was like a stock DBX or something. Okay. I'm ready to go on, and there's an item here in community comms about an Xbox PvP event. I would love if NL Hate could tell me all about this.
All right. So there's this group, an Xbox squadron, doing an Xbox event, and I really just gotta like stick it to how cool these people's names are. It's the Cult with a K, Cult of the Murder Goose, and I think that is hilarious.
It's awesome.
Wow.
On June 9th,
That's a play.
they're
Sorry,
gonna
that's a player name.
that's a squadron name.
Oh, that's a squad. Oh, cool. Yeah. Good squad name. Way to go, guys.
On June 9th, on Xbox, they'll have a carrier leaving the Bundus system to haul anybody that wants to do either a free-for-all PvP event or a 2v2 bracket tournament in a red lightning Lagrange cloud. They'll haul everybody out there Thursday or Friday for a Friday fight night, a Saturday 2v2 bracket, and then if enough people show up, additional festivities on Sunday and a return trip on Monday. And this is being hosted by the Cult of the Murder Goose. As we get closer and I find out where it's being streamed at, we'll have more information once they have more information.
Awesome.
We will also have a link to the event Discord, as they have made a separate Discord outside of the Cult of the Murder Goose Discord for the red lightning Lagrange cloud. That is a mouthful.
I have never seen a
That's
lightning
what
Lagrange
she
cloud still.
said.
Me either. And it just sounds so cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Way to go. I love to see events and console events doubly so, because consoles need more love. There, people wander into Discord and will often ask, where are the Xbox, where are the PS5 or PS players? And there are some. I think it's just an artifact of the way everything's organized that they end up being a little less active in Discord sometimes, and it's just tougher, right? You gotta force the interaction because they're not just gonna. It's just a lower population, which is a bummer. So
yeah, that's of all things in this game. I know I talk about module storage being increased and stuff like that quite a bit, but I think crossplay is what this game needs so badly, just to get the entire community together.
Yeah,
I hate that we can't play with the console people. So.
Sure, someone's editing the notes as I speak. It looks like we have a Discord link for that.
Yep.
Did you announce that already, didn't you?
Yep.
Cool. That's about all I have for the show. So I think I'm ready for beers and cheeses, unless anybody has any other business.
I want to add one more thing.
Yep.
Before the show started, I moved my carrier and put in a buy order for the stuff we're doing for the BGS, and put out a request on Discord for people to start filling the carrier. In the time it's taken us to record the show, members of the squadron have put 7,000 tons of goods on my carrier for this.
Holy crap.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Impressive,
rip.
guys. Wow. Nice.
Beautiful. Our squad is wonderful and
Yes,
contains plenty of Xbox. Well, it could always use more. I don't want to sound like we have enough, but Xbox and PlayStation representing in the squad too. Love you guys.
Indeed. Thank you, Daddy.
Come on.
All right, the cheese this week.
Daddy
I'm
tracks.
going with a great snack cheese. Many of you have probably had it. Baby Bell, those little hockey pucks in red wax. Have you guys had those?
Oh yeah, my the ladies in my house just love those.
Yeah, they're great. It's Edam is the kind of cheese that it's in. If it's the red wax, different countries have different cheeses that you can get and stuff. But they're a great just little snack. They're only like 50 calories each, so you can eat like 700 of them before you have to worry about putting on any weight. But that's the cheese of the week, Baby Bells. Stay cheesy, everybody.
That's not how calories work.
I'm not good at math. We know this.
Are we doing beer now too?
Only when there isn't cheese.
Oh,
But I love
oh
beer
man,
with
you're
my
forcing.
cheese.
Yeah, who doesn't
You're
drink
forcing
beer when they
everyone
eat
to
corn
choose.
dogs?
Yeah, we did have corn dogs this week too. Corn dogs. Might as well give us a beer. Hey, come on.
I'm not
Wing it.
prepared.
Wing
All
it.
right.
All right,
This week's
all right.
beer is Pabst Blue Ribbon.
And
I
corn
drink-
dogs.
I drank a 30-pack of extra skunked Pabst Blue Ribbon once upon a time.
That's the one beer my wife will not let me buy because it is so odoriferous that she just doesn't like me to drink that. Because if I come to bed after 6 or 8 of those, yeah, the whole bedroom stinks of PBR.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
PBR and
And their
Chig.
old slogan,
PBR
PBR's old
corn dog
slogan,
and cheese farts. Yeah, baby.
That's such an
Chig
overshare.
cheese. Gross.
You could do worse, but not much worse.
No, God, you want to
No.
die young? Go on a steady diet of that.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks Chig, Dubs, Nurgle, Hate for joining me on this very special episode of the Loose Screws podcast. If you like the show, please go to your whatever podcast app you're listening on and give us a rating and review and stuff. Like on YouTube, we're in all the places, and it helps people find the show. You can join us on Discord at discord.io/loose screws, and check out the merch store at loosescrewsed.com for mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, and more. Like stickers and other kinds of drinkware and stuff like that. There's lots of stuff there, I promise. And that's about all we have time for. As if I watch a clock when I record this show. Oh. Anyway,
you never watch a clock ever. I'm convinced.
We're
gonna start at 7 tonight.
Oh, whatever. I was here. Okay. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you next week for more of the loosest and screwiest podcast in the whole galaxy. Bye-bye.